What I've noticed just now is that the bike only came with one of those passenger foot pegs, and I have no idea how I missed this before, but I guess it's one of those things, it's so obvious you don't look for it. Well, one of those is not good for me, is it? So I need to get thinking. Luckily for me, I've built a cafe racer of an XV500. It was 1983 bike, so everything on it was a little bit of old school, and I replaced lots of parts for new ones. I never really throw anything away when it comes to motorcycle parts. If they're good, usable parts, I tend to keep them. If I don't use them, I can always sell them on. Luckily for me, on this Virago, it came very handy. Not only I've made a front feet support highway bars on my VMAX 1200 back in the summer, and these rear passenger foot pegs will come really handy on that ZR600. One is not good for me, is it? And just like this, completely free of charge, we got a set of rear foot pegs for your old lady to put her feet on. Are they matching the front ones? Well, they're not far off, but does it matter in this project? I don't think it does. Next big job I need to do on the Eliminator is the fork seals. They're not exactly in super bad condition, they're not exactly leaking, but they're not exactly dry, and that needs dealing with. Let's do this now. Now, because the exhaust, it runs directly underneath the framing kind of the engine, and I don't have any jack that will support the bike from either of the frame, and I don't really want to support it through the exhaust itself. That's not a great idea. I've got a different solution to lift the front wheel off the ground. That's right. I'm going to lift it by the bars, and I've got a solid piece of steel embedded across the ceiling beams. That should be strong enough. I supported my DRZ like this. I know it's a lighter bike, but I got two straps right now, and I'm not exactly lifted it 100 meters off the ground. I just need an inch to clear that wheel. Happy days. Don't do this at home. Don't do this at home. That's one done. Let's take care of the second one. I'll show you the little trick I used over here for a stuck damper rod bolt. As I suspected, in the original fork, the oil wasn't exactly great quality, which is a good thing I'm changing it, right? This is the scary part, when the top doesn't want to come off, and because it's preloaded under pressure, safety first, because it's preloaded, it likes to pop on the rust very end of it, so I always keep my face away from it if I can. I put a lot of pressure on it, and I spin the actual fork stanchion rather than the bolt itself, and be very careful about it. There we go. And when I dismantle it, I put it in the way I found it in the fork. So the cup first, spacer second, there's a washer, I go third on it, and a spring. There's a semi-progressive spring as well, and a tight bit, as you can see, on the top is tighter, on the bottom is slightly loose, and the tight bit goes to the top. I can drain the old oil from it. Well, the oil on the other fork, on the left fork, was horrible. This one is, well, not half bad. You could do with replacing it, but somebody obviously changed the fork oil, or the fork seals on one fork and not on the other one. Well, I see what they do in it, you know, they saving money because they only buying half the oil and one seal. I guess the other one wasn't leaking, but it's a false economy because the other one will start leaking eventually and to do the job all over again. Plus you get different quantity and different quality of oil in each fork leg, and the bike will never handle great. I know this kind of bike is not exactly built to go super fast around the corners, but you will still feel it. If the one fork leg is slightly got different thickness oil and quality of oil, you will definitely feel it when you're riding a bike. Now let me explain you that little trick I used on the previous one. As we all know, there's a dumper rod sits over here and it's secured by a bolt that cannot be accessed from the bottom, from underneath here. And it's usually an Allen head bolt, right? So I use it this way around and I put a span on the end of it so I get some extra grip. I try to break it when the fork is assembled. There's some pressure on it, and if you're lucky you can crack this bolt open, you know, and happy days, smooth sailing. But if you're unlucky like I am on every single bike I'm working, the bolt is not gonna crack and it spins around with a dumper rod inside, and that's obviously make it very difficult to remove. So the trick I've been using quite successfully, and I did show you that on my VMAX video when I was replacing the fork seals on it. I've got an old cane which is very hard wood. A broomstick, I guess, sharpen up works very well. Basically something that is softer than metal because the dumper rod over there is made of metal, but it's kind of hard, so you can wedge it in that dumper rod so it sits there nicely. And once this is done, hopefully we can have enough grip on the end of that handle to stop the dumper rod from spinning around together with the bolt. This one is a tough son of a bitch, so I put more grips on the end of it to aid basically my grip, so I can grip over here and then hope for the best. I can crack this bad boy. I think I got it. I think it went. Oh yeah, it's coming out now. Your ass is mine. There you go. Comes out nicely like this. As you can see what's happening here, basically I'm wedging that hard piece of wood inside that dumper rod over here, and been using that trick for quite some time. Never let me down. As I said, in my whole fucking motorcycle maintenance career, I think I only had one single fork leg that was managed to crack it open when a fork was assembled. I don't have an impact gun. It probably would be easier with it, you know, but I don't have one. And this little trick, although sometimes a little bit messy, it works every time. And well, yeah, you guys decide whether you want to use it or not. I've never damaged a dumper rod by doing this because metal is harder than even hardwood, but it's up to you. This is what I do in my garage. Whether you want to follow this or not, well, basically, don't do what I do. Don't do what I do. End of my little tool, which was a cane originally. I kind of sharpened, maybe not sharpened, but made it into a little cone like this, so it's easier to find its way inside that dumper rod. And if you've got different diameter of the damper rod, because different bikes come with different, you know, stuff inside. You can wedge it in quite nicely. This tool also comes very handy. Reassembling the fork, you can do the same process exactly the other way around. You just impale this bad boy on it, you know, with a spring, then insert it into the fork stanchion, and while you're holding onto it, you can put mole grips on a band, pull that bolt that holds it through the fork leg on the bottom, because otherwise you would just spin around inside the fork leg. But if you get something to hold on to it like this, it makes life way easier. I'm sure there is a specific tool like this you can buy somewhere from Yamaha or Kawasaki or some other manufacturer, or maybe some completely different random stuff. But I found this in the street some time ago, and it came really handy. So now all left to do is clean all the parts, the springs and the fork stanchions and leg, and inspect the fork legs and all that stuff, and put it back all together with new fork oil and new seals, obviously. Although it is a very messy job, because it's oil everywhere, and if you work in an old bike like I do, it usually stinks. It's horrible smell on it, and it just, oil gets fucking everywhere. So it's a messy job, but there is strangely satisfying something about rebuilding the forks. You put a new oil in it and new seals, and not only your bike is, you know, smooth on the front suspension again, it's not leaking oil, but there's something strangely satisfying about something you can rebuild yourself. Can't put my finger on it, but I hate doing it because it's so messy, but when it's done, I'm really happy I've done it. Hope that makes sense. These are now ready. They're done, they're lovely, they're smooth, and they're no longer leaking, which is the main thing. And with very good condition fork stanchion right below the clamp, there is no pitting, no corrosion, no rust whatsoever. I'm hoping this will be serving the bike for miles and miles to come. As you can see, the original seals were rather bad condition. Dust caps not so much, but the actual seals completely fucked. Well, doesn't matter now. New ones are right there. Having the wheel of the forks, I mean, it would be just a crime not to give it a good clean. I mean, look how much better does it look now already. Can you see it? Okay, it's not exactly brand new because it got tiny little bit of a pitting over here, which took the chrome out over here, and there's some on the other side as well. Couple of tiny marks which you just can't get rid of. But other than that, you know, give it a good clean. Bit of WD-40 and steel wool and a lot of elbow grease. Look how much better does it look. Amazing. Let's put it back on. So the bike is back to being freestanding on its own wheel, and we've got fresh fork oil, fresh fork seals, and that's beautiful. That's just smooth, lovely, and you name it, it's just gonna work really well. Yes, I did give it a good fresh coat of paint for the fork legs. I mean, I know I'm not, I did say it before, right? I did say it, I'm not gonna go crazy on this bike and I'm gonna completely strip it down and rebuild it to a show finish. But that was just, you know, it was asking for it. I mean, come on, how much better does it look already, you know? I'm not going black, you know, I'm not gonna go black everywhere. It was kind of silver, you know, chrome, aluminium-ish, you name it. So I kind of stuck with it, and I gave a good clean to that front wheel, and look how much better it looks. It looks, I'm not gonna say it looks brand new, but you know, for a bike that was neglected and left to be scrapped pretty much, look at that, you know, that front end looks amazing. Once I put the mudguard on it, you know, and clean the tire, it's gonna look really good, I think. So I'm quite happy with that. The next job is to inspect that front brake. I'm gonna do it hopefully tomorrow. And there's a few very little cosmetics things I need to do for this bike. Other than that, we are nearly there. That's right, the main mechanical parts has been done, has been fixed, has been rectified. And what we need to do now is tidy up some of the components, clean up some of the old parts, and once it's all done, up and running, we're gonna start on the paint job. But until then, guys, thank you very much for watching. Rock hard, drink homemade mead, and I'll see you very soon. Fuck, that's good.